Hey, yo. Welcome in to the Thursday night live stream. Live action. Jets, Colts, Carson Wentz, Mike White, Michael Carter, Jonathan Taylor, these stud young running backs, right? Stud. We'll see if Michael Carter continues that when and if Zach Wilson returns. We would hope so when, right? But how you doing? What's going on? So let's do this. Let's talk about this slate. We talked about it on the video this morning, or went out last night. If you didn't watch that, it's a really interesting price slate. Like, it's tough. The main ways to get different are like good value options, right? Like Denzel Mims, there's probably not going to be Corey Davis. Mims led this team in routes run and snaps last week. Keelan Cole was second, so there's good value there. Ashton Doolin with no T.Y. Hilton and no Paris Campbell. He's seen 4 targets in back-to-back weeks. Hasn't done much with them, but he's a downfield target. Can pay off $200 pretty quickly with one catch for 40 yards, right? So that is interesting, but all three of those players inherit a lot of risk, right? I mean, Keelan Cole is no sure thing. Denzel Mims has been far from ever being a sure thing so far in his NFL career, and Ashton Doolin has shown to have 2 catches, 0 yards on 8 targets last 2 weeks as an afterthought after Pittman, after Pascal, after the running game, even after the tight end. So, like, it's tough. Somebody asked me if I'm playing the luxury box today, right? The big buy-in contest on DraftKings, on Showdowns, which I have played maybe about half of the Showdown slates this year in that. And this is a slate that, as of right now, I'm not. Because most of those people that play it, they know the ways to get different today. I mean, not even to get different, but to find value. And it's in Ashton Doolin, Denzel Mims, and Keelan Cole. So everybody's going to start to have the same type of players. Those players aren't secure to begin with. So now you're playing similar players that everybody else is in those types of contests. And it's not even a secure thing. So you're not kind of rewarded anywhere near as much for taking those types of risks, if that makes sense. How y'all doing? How you doing? We got somebody up in the chat saying that they just joined. Charles, he said he just joined the Patreon family, the membership today. Let's get it. Hey, welcome in, fella. I appreciate you. Somebody else said that their Patreon membership is about to change the world, Knuckles says. He said he's up 9K in 2 months with it. Hey, it's pretty damn good. I would consider 9K in 2 months a full-time job, 4.5K a month. What is that? Over 50,000, 5,500, 55 grand a year? How you doing? I only got one question, Sal. What do you think about Kute today? Yeah, Kiki Kute is interesting. Like, I was trying to see. I saw the roster moves on Monday for the Colts. They elevated a running back from the preseason to their active roster. I don't think it'll matter much. I think that was more so maybe if Marlon Mack was to get traded on Tuesday, but they did that on Monday. As of right now, they cut Brett Hundley, I believe. The veteran quarterback, UCLA, drafted by the Packers, went to the Cardinals, right? They cut him. I don't think that they did anything with Kute. I think Kute's still on the roster. I expect him to operate and run a couple of routes today. I mean, last time out in week 6, he ended up running a couple of routes when there was no T.Y. Hilton, when there was no Campbell now. So I think he'll operate today in an interesting role. I do think you'll see Zach Pascal be this slot plus Chris Godwin type of a player that he has always been for this team. But yeah, I do think that that's probably where you're going to see Kute get a couple of routes run today. Get them schmacks, says the guy. Let's do it. What's up, Sal? Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great day yourself, Knuckles. Sal, Value Finder Vetri. Yeah, Value Finder Vetri. I mean, let's look at this, right? There's a ton of value on this slate in terms of the low range. If you're looking for anything in the mid-range, there's nothing. I mean, a lot of people have been reaching out to me on Twitter and the Discord. Elijah Moore's prop. We took it over under 40.5 yards on last night's video. It's already down to 27.5 because, yeah, sure, a lot of people took the under, but I think also the bookmakers realized that they put that number way too high, that Elijah Moore was the wide receiver 4 on his team last week in a game where they ran a ton of plays. If they run 10 to 15 less plays this week, Elijah Moore's going to run 10 routes in the game, right? And that can always change. They can always just say, okay, we've had enough of Denzel Mims. He's not producing. Dropped a touchdown last week. Let's give Elijah Moore more opportunities, which you would expect eventually. But at least it's not happening these last couple of weeks. Dollarski time, let's do it. Jets plus 10.5. I don't have any interest in either side of betting this. The only thing I took was, as of right now, I have the Colts and Survivor. It's like 27 yards yet. Yeah, that's terrible. It's early. But Sal is awesome. Give a thumbs up. I appreciate that. Thank you. What's up? Best in the biz. Thoughts on captains? Taylor, Pittman, Crowder, Carter, sprinkling in QBs. Yeah, Crowder's I think all those guys are fine options. I personally right now don't have any Crowder captain. I think that a Crowder captain spot would be fine. Like, I'm not completely against that. I just personally am not going there. Personally not going there at this point. But I think it's okay. I think that I think that this is not going to be a good day for Mike White. And because of that, it's really difficult for me to like many of his pass catchers or playmakers in terms of captain spots. Carter's obviously different because he's a running back. He's going to get the shorter passes. Those are easily convertible. Those will probably even be prioritized here. The Colts have a lot better linebackers than the Bengals do. I mean, Darius Leonard to begin with is way better and laps the field of all the Bengals linebackers from last week. So you should see a lot less yards after the catch, condense these shorter plays. That's how the Colts usually play anyways. Keep it in front of you. Might allow some receptions, might allow 5 receptions or so to Michael Carter, but not a lot of yards after that. But in terms of Mike White and what he's going to do today, it's hard to really like him, in my opinion, or at least rely on him enough to believe that he can propel Crowder forward to a captain spot at his current price tag. So that's my current issue is that, look, Mike White, I know second ever yards or whatever against the Bengals and all that. A lot of it was from a higher paced offense, a lot of checkdowns, a shit ton of checkdowns. I mean, he had the lowest yards per attempt last week and the most yards. Like, that is insane to believe. It was a lot of yards after the catch. The Colts aren't going to allow that. And a lot of less attempts are going to come this week. So, I mean, if he's going out there and he's completing 18 of 35 passes, somewhere in that regard, right? It's going to be a lot less on those 18 passes. Like, it might only be 180 yards this week. And it's a totally different story then for every Jets player. I think a lot of people are going to have, we just saw it on Sunday, these 400-plus yard game. A lot of people are going to have inflated thoughts on what to expect out of everybody on this team, all right? Every single player, basically. Definitely Michael Carter, definitely Mike White, to an extent Jamison Crowder. You're not going to get the same performance. This is a totally different, much better defense that is basically disciplined for the past 5 to half decade years on stopping exactly what the Jets did last week. And I mean, unless Mike White's able to show us today, which he did not show us last week, that he's able to hit big-time downfield throws, then I think it's going to be a tough day for him on a short week. And that is why I'm not going to go to Crowder in the captain spot. The captains that I do like today are Pittman, Jonathan Taylor. Those are obvious options. Carson Wentz and Michael Carter as of right now. I do think you can get away with Ashton Dulin. That's more of like the Millie Maker contest. I don't even know if there's a Millie Maker tonight. I assume there's something like that out there. But Ashton Dulin captain spot, I'm not playing it, but if you're playing in a large field contest, a $200 Ashton Dulin captain spot, get everybody else in your lineup. Hope that one of these 4 targets that are going to be deep targets can land for a touchdown, 40-plus yard touchdown. You might have something there. He's going to run the routes, right? You think Love shows out on Sunday? I mean, he's going to have a good matchup. He should. I mean, there's no excuse for Jordan Love, a first round, like at least for the organization. Jordan Love gets a lot of criticism for no reason. He got drafted. He couldn't control the team trading up for him, right? And the fact that the team that traded up for him had Aaron Rodgers, right? So he gets a lot of unwanted criticism as an undesired and really unnecessary. But, I mean, first-round pick, the organization first-round pick, you're facing a really bad defense, and you're going to have Devontae Adams back out there, Aaron Jones, your full arsenal of weapons outside of Robert Tonyan. Like, yeah, this guy's going to have to show that he can do something. But, again, it's his first ever start. But you can't go out there and look like just nothing. Like, you at least have to show that you're somewhat competent, that you can at least somewhat work the offense. And you would expect Matt LaFleur, although short notice here, to be able to put something around him to make him feel okay. I have a ton of Kiki Kute. Yeah, I'm not too sure what to expect out of him, to be honest. What's going on, Rocco? I'm not getting a lot of Kute. I mean, he's going to operate as the wide receiver 4 behind the running backs in this game, behind the tight end. So, like, I think that he'll run routes, but I think it'll be 5 routes. Maybe he gets 1 target. There's just way better values. Like, when Denzel Mims and Keelan Kohler are going to run 30-plus routes today, and Ashton Dulin is going to run 20-plus routes, there's no way I'm going to pay for a similarly priced Kiki Kute who's going to run 6 routes. Yo, what's up, new? Would you take the over on more now? I understand what you're trying to do there. You're trying to bubble it. I just like the under 40.5. I don't even like. I have more at 24 yards. That doesn't mean I'm taking the under, but I'm definitely not taking the over, right? So I'm not taking the under anymore. I got him at 40.5. I like where I got the number. If you didn't get it, the number's gone, right? We bet numbers, right? We're trying to bet the right numbers in terms of based on the numbers that I have and trying to find the edge. When that number drops to a certain point, there's no bet now. Just because Elijah Moore was the best prop play of definitely this entire week that I've seen so far, including Sunday slate, under 40.5 as a wide receiver 4 who's going to run 15 routes and see 2 targets today, right? Just because he was the best play at under 40.5, and things can happen. He can see his role increase if they don't like Mims, like we said, or Keelan Cole. But just because that number's dropped now, no, you don't bet it at 27.5, in my opinion. Sal, thanks for all your hard work. Let's get it, bro. Let's get it, boss man. Mike White isn't going to get 31 points again, but what do you think he scores tonight? I have Mike White for less than half of that. I have Mike White at 15 points flat tonight. No decimals, just 15 points. How many points from Dulin do you think makes him worth it at $200? I mean, on the fact that this mid-range is just so overpriced today, I don't think Dulin has to do a lot. I have Dulin currently projecting out for 6.8 points, and I think that definitely gets him in a winning lineup. But again, he's just like you've seen the last couple of weeks. He's just as easy as getting a goose egg or less than 2 points. I mean, this is, again, the third option on a run-first offense that use a lot of 2 tight end sets. So, yeah, Ashton Dulin, he's getting open downfield. That's the thing that's nice. Right? He was overthrown last week. Could have had a massive play. Would have been much more expensive this week if that was the case. But this mid-range is kind of gross. Like Zach Pascal, Ty Johnson, Elijah Moore, Naeem Himes, Mo Ali Cox, Colts defense, Jack Doyle. Like that is a gross mid-range from, if you take out the kickers, Tyler Croft, Braxton Berrios. You literally go from the $3,000 range to the $6K range with no play actually looking good. Like the kickers and the Colts defense look okay, but you know the limited upside of those positions, right? So, yeah, I don't think that you're going to have to see a lot out of Ashton Dulin. If Ashton Dulin scores 7 points tonight, there's a decent chance that he outscores everybody in the 3, 4, 5, and maybe even 6K range with 7 points. Based on my projections, the only guy that would beat him out there is Zach Pascal, which is fucking crazy, and the kickers in defense. How many flex points from a $200 guy like Dulin makes him worth it? Typically, it depends on the slate. Less on this slate since all the mid-range guys are overpriced. Less on this slate since all the mid-range guys are overpriced. But that doesn't mean 3 points is going to be in the winning lineup. It probably doesn't mean 4 or 5 is. You're going to need Dulin to probably score 6, 7, or 8 points. Jonathan Taylor, our captain. Do you fade Wentz? Do you have to play White at that point? No. You can play Wentz when Jonathan Taylor. I mean, if White goes out there and has 180 yards and 1 touchdown tonight and an interception, and Carson Wentz continues to do what Carson Wentz is doing, maybe not real life football being consistent, but in fantasy, throwing for 250 yards, rushing for a couple, and getting you like 5 to 10 yards rushing for, and getting you 2 touchdowns, and he's scoring 18 points on a showdown slate, that's going to look good. No Pascal at captain? Not for me, no. Not for me, no. What percentage of Colts D do you have tonight? I think 25%. I'm not getting too crazy about them. They're overowned tonight. I mean, I have the Colts defense projecting out ownership-wise on Patreon for 30% ownership by the field. Again, the Colts defense is being inflated upwards. They have a nice projection. They're facing Mike White on a short week, right? No Corey Davis, all this stuff. But this is a Colts and bad offensive line. This is a Colts defense that looks like a fine play today. Not shocked if they score 10 or 12. I have them projecting out really nicely, but they're 30% owned. So like there's no hidden thing here that you're getting sneaky by playing the Colts defense. The Colts defense is a fine play tonight because that mid-range is dead, but I just can't get to like the 30 or 40% ownership that they're going to have on them. Do you think the Colts 5-1 stack is viable in this slate? I think a Colts 5-1 stack is kind of tough just because of how the pricing sets out. The fact that Keelan Cole it would have to be like Keelan Cole or Mims being your one because they have so much cheaper value with Keelan Cole and Mims. Michael Carter looks good, kickers, right? So I think it's tough for a 5-1. Just because of like how the slate is priced. You would need your 5-1 to basically happen that Mike White shits the bed. Like if Mike White shits the bed tonight and your one is Michael Carter or your one is Jets kicker or something like that, that's how it gets there. So obviously it's in play. It's in play every single slate. Just the way the slate's priced is a little tough. How do we feel about both kickers in the same lineup? I don't like it personally. Rarely ever works out for you. I know that on these types of slates where it's a low total, it might look a little bit more appealing, but I don't like it. Ashton has a 200-pound advantage. Is that correct? Definitely not. Winning lineup have to be a quarterback. Have to have a quarterback. Yeah, I would say there's a really high percentage chance that a winning lineup tonight is going to have a quarterback like most slates. Does it always work out? No. But I would say that there's probably over a 75% chance that the winning lineup has at least one quarterback. Mims or Keelan Cole Sr.? Yeah, good question. I don't know. I don't have the answer for you. I have Mims projected for 6.2 points, Keelan Cole for 6.4. They basically look like the same play. Mims should come in with less ownership. So I think Mims is leverage-wise, Mims looks like a better play. Actual taking out leverage, I'd say Keelan Cole has a better chance at being in the winning lineups. But yeah, I mean, they're very similar plays tonight. This is a very similar thing that we had on the Monday night slate. I don't even remember the players. It looked like the exact same fucking play. Mims is going to be lower owned, so it'll give you a little bit more leverage. His actual role, though, it's similar to Keelan Cole's. He's just not producing. So I guess I'll go Mims. Sal over here with the Charlie Brown swag. Facts. Crowder pivot off of Carter and single entry if you want to. Yeah, I mean, I like both. I like Carter more. I think that Carter is overall compared to Crowder the better play in the slate. One lineup, kicker or defense for Indy. If I had to choose between the kicker or defense for Indy tonight, I would go with the kicker, but it's very close. I like their odds of scoring 10 more than the defense's odds. Monday night, it was Tony and Shepard is the same play. Yeah, they're very similarly priced, right? And then what happens, we see Tony operate in a backup role out of nowhere, and we see Shepard get hurt. So neither of them, right? Have you done any SuperDraft tonight? Yes. Yeah, I have SuperDraft projections and everything. Michael Carter, Michael Pittman look good over there in terms of pure projection. High multipliers on guys like Crowder make them a little bit more appealing. The kickers are in play over there. Ashton Doolin's even in play. If you can find the end zone, he's definitely a smash on SuperDraft. What do you think is going to be more owned, Wentz or White? Definitely Wentz. Not even close. Not even close. It's going to be Wentz. I mean, I think Wentz is going to come in with 20+% more ownership than White, and he should. Don't think that means that you're getting sneaky by fading him. No. Carson Wentz is a good play today. Carson Wentz is one of the best plays on the slate today. I would say that Carson Wentz is the best play on the slate if Ashton Dulin wasn't on the slate, but this is the problem with this slate. Like, the guys who are good plays are Ashton Dulin, Denzel Mims, and Keelan Cole. Those are not good relative to other NFL wide receivers. Those are not good wide receivers. Keelan Cole is like somewhat underrated, but like factoring in every wide receiver in the NFL, these are not good receivers. So you're relying on not good receivers, two of them paired up with Mike White, one of them in a run-first offense that Carson Wentz is going to throw his way 3 times tonight, right? So Overall, I think Wentz is the best play in the slate. Those guys, though, scare the shit out of me. That's why I'm not playing in the luxury box, because you're going to be forced to put in Denzel Mims, Keelan Cole, or Doolin tonight, and maybe two of them, but probably just one. None of those guys do I have confidence in. All those guys can score less than 5 points, and I'm not shocked tonight, right? You like just playing the 4 most expensive players in the slate and then punting the rest of your lineup. I personally don't want to punt with 2 of like Doolin and Mims and Keelan Cole. I think it could work out for you, but I personally don't want to punt with 2 of them, if that's what you're saying. Hey, Sal, I wanted to swing by show to support for my boy and stay. What's up? Let's get these Dalaruskis, says Johnny. Johnny, let's get these Dalaruskis, boss man. Let's get these Dalaruskis. Sal, you call it a grinder or a sub? A sub. I've never called it a grinder. Tim Anderson said this is the buy before the buy for the Jets. Colts are going to stomp them. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, I took the Colts in Survivor. Any interest on Hines? Not really. I think I currently have 9% Hines in 150s, not getting him in 20 max, 3 max, or single entry. What are some top captain options? Yeah, Wentz, Pittman, Taylor, Carter. If you want to go to Crowder, you can. I'm personally not. In terms of, somebody asked me what I had on Underdog picks. This is all I have on Underdog tonight. It's a $100 play to try and win 300 because I have a lot of props on Prize Picks and DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook. So 2 picks, Mo Alley-Cox under 23.5 yards, Mike White under 257.5 yards. I feel really good about the Mike White under. I think he's going to check down a lot more, sure, like he has been, but he's not going to get as many yards after the catch because these Colts linebackers and defense in general is set up to absolutely stop that. So that's what I have on Underdog tonight. And then on Prize Picks tonight, I have a lot in play. Like, this is the most I've had in play on a Showdown slate since maybe week 2 or 3. I just like a lot tonight. In terms of the prop market, I mean, I have a shit ton in play. I've went over 236 passing yards. Elijah Moore under 40.5. When I saw the Elijah Moore under 40.5, I was like, okay, I have to take a lot and pair that shit up with that. Jonathan Taylor over 14.5 receiving yards. Wentz over receiving yards again. Ty Johnson over 12.5 rushing yards. Elijah Moore under again. Michael Carter over 12 fantasy points. Like, a lot of these look fucking great. A lot of these look great. So I got a lot of props in play tonight. I think I have like a total of like 9 different props in play, which on a Showdown slate for a 1-game sample is a lot that I've had relatively probably over the past month on a 1-game Showdown slate. But if you want a free bet on Prize Picks, that was the first site the second site we showed. This is Prize Picks. A lot of you already know this, but for those that don't, this is Prize Picks. You take some props over here, over unders, same exact thing on Underdog. Just shop your lines on whichever site looks better for you. And like Underdog had a higher number on Mike White, so I took the under over there instead of on Prize Picks, or is that like 250 something or like 252? But you can use the code Sally, get a free bet on either site up to $100. So go ahead, schmack it. You're going to find more offerings on Prize Picks. They just have more props offering, especially in the fantasies point spot. But you'll find some interesting edges, especially on that Mike White one tonight on Underdog. Jason Welsh, keep killing it, Sally says with the $10 super chat. Appreciate that, boss man. Hope you're having a lovely night. Can you run no quarterback on FanDuel tonight? Yeah, it's not going to be in your favor, the odds of that working out for you. But basically, I think that Mike White doesn't have a small chance of being in the like Mike White's going to have a lesser chance than most quarterbacks on most slates and being in the winning lineup based on the projection I have. I just feel really good about Carson Wentz tonight. Don't think that Carson Wentz has to have a real good life game. Carson Wentz can throw 2 picks tonight. But if he's throwing for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns, we feel a little bit better. Do you think you can fade quarterbacks tonight? Use Taylor or Pittman as captain, use both, and then go punt mid-range? Yeah, I think that could work out for you. I personally will be playing Wentz. Prize Picks and Underdog, both not available in my state. Brutal state. You got to move. I know it's a Showdown, but Cox seems a little steep. Yeah, all these guys are steep. This is the most overpriced mid-range that we've seen in a very long time. I mean, starting at Pascal at 6,600 for his role in this offense, right? But even if you take him out, Ty Johnson, a backup running back, going to touch the ball 8 times tonight, overpriced at 6,400. Elijah Moore, the wide receiver 4 in this team, going to run 12 to 15 routes, 6,200, ridiculous. Nyheim Hines is just not touching the ball anymore, by the way. Last week was the best game he's had in a while, and he had 5 touches, so not good. Mo Alley-Cox, massively overpriced, 23.5 receiving yards. We love the under there. That's assuming that he catches like 3 balls based on how often he's used downfield. I live in Texas like you do. How do you use a sports book? I have people up in the Northeast placing for me, so that is how I use it. I don't know if that's legal to say or not. Is Pittman a must tonight? Pittman is not a must tonight, depending on where you're going. Like if you're going Wentz and Jonathan Taylor in the lineup, which will make you a little bit different. I don't think that Pittman is a must tonight. Pittman is definitely a top 5 play in the slate, right? Like this slate is very easy to pin down the obvious or like strong plays just based on the workload they're going to get and not a lot of guys being properly priced. Like you get a fairly priced Pittman, a fairly priced Taylor, a fairly priced Wentz, a fairly priced Michael Carter, and then just like those 3 cheap punt wide receivers tonight. Like that is how the slate plays out. You want to play the kicker, you want to play defense, fine. That's basically the slate tonight. If you want to somehow I don't even think you're getting like an advantage over the other guys we just mentioned. But if you need like mid-range salary relief, that's where Zach Pascal, Jamison Crowder come in. But after that, like nobody else is fucking in playing this late for me. They're just really like not. Like I don't want Mo Ali Cox. I don't want Marlon Mack. I don't want Kylan Granson or Ryan Griffin. I don't really want Mike White, to be honest with you. I think he's one of the worst plays in the slate factoring in price point. I don't want Elijah Moore, Ty Johnson, Naeem Hines, right? It's really easy to start Xing players out. And when I say I think Mike White's one of the worst plays in the slate, and then you see that I have an X on him here, this is factoring in 150 builds. Like 150 builds, I'm not going to get 0% Mike White tonight. I think that would be a little bit ridiculous, especially since there's a lot of other guys that are worth fading, like Tyler Kroft, Ryan Griffin, those types of guys. But in 3-max single entry, yeah, I'm trying not to play Mike White in 3-max single entry tonight. I think this is a really, really good spot that we can take advantage of the public, seeing that Mike White just was number 2 ever in his first start, got a W as a 10-point dog, knocked a bunch of people out of Survivor. He's on the leading story on SportsCenter, Mike White. Everybody's like, holy shit, this guy's so good. Holy shit, his prop's only at 250 yards. He's only 9,800 on DraftKings. I got to play that guy. I just remembered that he just had the second most behind Cam Newton. Cam Newton was fucking good, right? Totally different story. They don't look at the underlying stats. He did this on the least yards per attempt last week, 5.4, meaning he checked everything fucking down, literally to running backs. 15 receptions to his running backs, to Crowder in the slot, right? These checkdowns, yards after the catch was the thing that happened last week. The Bengals suck at tackling after the catch, and now a totally opposite team in the Colts is coming in who doesn't suck at after the catch. So I'm not shocked to see Mike White go over under 200 yards tonight, let alone the under 257 that we have on Underdog. That's my 2 favorite props on the night are under 40.5 yards for Elijah Moore. That was on DraftKings earlier today. You're probably not going to find it now. I don't know what it is on other sites. And then under 257 yards for Mike White. Somebody says Sal is rolling with 100% Mike White. Currently in 150 max builds, I currently have Mike White in 26% of my lineups, which is the lowest amount I've had of a quarterback so far this year. That's 150 on a Showdown slate. Single entry 3 max, I have none. Will Mike White have over 13 fantasy points? I have him projected for 15. It's a no bet for me, though, on the over-under on his fantasy points. Do you prefer kickers in lower or higher scoring games? I don't have a clear-cut rule for that. It depends on the specific kicker on the specific slate. Kickers look a little bit better on this slate because the mid-range absolutely sucks, and the value options are kind of shaky, right? Those wide receivers. So it requires a lot more context. Higher scoring or lower scoring, none of those are going to be as predictive. Like when there's higher scoring games in the 50s, 55s, those look a little bit better than lower scoring games, obviously, because the offenses are moving the ball more, whether that means for field goals or extra points. So generally speaking, I would say higher scoring games, but it all depends on the slate because when there's higher scoring games, more people are scoring touchdowns. There's more overall yardage in the game, which means that more players around the kicker's price point are getting there more than the kickers. So I rarely play kickers, to be honest with you. Like small field, like the luxury box 200-person fields, I would play a kicker in there sometimes, depending on how the slate played out. But I'm rarely playing kickers. Most of the time, kickers are scoring 5 to 8 points, and most of the time, somebody else around them, whether it's $100 more, $1,000 more, $1,000 less, most of the time, somebody's getting equal to greater points. Doolin or Qt, if already answers prior, my bad, great videos. I appreciate that, Brock. It's definitely going to be Doolin. Doolin should run 20-plus routes. Qt might not even run 10 routes, right? I think Qt runs around 5. Gotta hate Doolin, but I feel like I need to play him due to the horrible mid-range on this single. Yeah, that's the problem with this slate. That's the reason I'm not putting a $2,000 entry into the luxury box tonight because you're kind of forced to play Ashton Doolin, Denzel Mims, or Keelan Cole, and I don't want to fucking play any of them. But you're almost forced to play that because of their projection, their routes, all that stuff. Would you play more than one kicker defense email lineup in a lineup? I wouldn't in a lineup that's worth a damn to me. I'm sure I have a kicker and a defense in a 150 max build, but I'm not going to. Actually, no, I have rules against that. I'm only going to get one kicker or defense in a given lineup. I can see your yes and maybes again, please, somebody said. Yeah, this is for 150 builds, by the way. These are yes, no's, and maybes for 150 builds. This is not... and when I have a no on Mo Ali Cox, I think I'm getting, like... I'm just trying to differentiate here. I got Mo Ali Cox in 8% of my lineups, Jack Doyle in 8%, Tyler Kroft in 3 in 150 builds. So, like, I'm going to have no's on them because they're less than 10%. Like, they're not actually worth a damn to me. I have no Braxton Berrios, though. So, yeah. I have 9% Hines, so he's basically a no. I think I have him on here as a maybe. I only have 9% Hines, so he's kind of like a no to me tonight too, especially with Jonathan Taylor running the most routes, by the way. Obviously, the game went to overtime, so it's going to be a little bit skewed, but Jonathan Taylor ran the most routes out of any running back last week. Again, the game went to overtime, so it's skewed, but you would think that his would come down and Naeem Hines would go up in that game flow. Didn't happen. Corvette donates $5 super chat. I appreciate that again. He says, have Wentz for Brady's bye week. Stick with him or wait and play Baker, Jimmy, Taysom, Love, White, or Fields? Oh my God, what a loaded question. Definitely not Fields, definitely not White. Definitely not Jimmy G, definitely not Baker. Taysom or Love, I do have projected. Actually, Wentz, I have a 19.8. Yeah, I would stick with Wentz. Just stick with Wentz. Talk about good showdown strategy. Yeah, I mean, every single slate's different. There's no general rules. Don't get cute at the captain spot. Don't be punting $200 players unless they actually are going to run routes or actually be like a leading ball carrier. But yeah, I mean, just don't get cute at the captain spot. So many people want to run the shittiest players at the captain spot because, oh, they're so cheap, they'll give me salary relief. How many times has that worked? How many times have you won with that? Never. Like, unless it's Traquan Smith 3 years ago when he scored 2 touchdowns as a rookie and 100 yards on Monday Night Football when it was clear and obvious he was going to operate as a wide receiver 2 in that game. Unless it's that type of a scenario for a superior talent at that time, third-round pick Traquan Smith who had a lot of hype behind him, you're probably not running cheap guys in the captain spot. Unless you're playing 150s, that's different. But just know your field size. Showdowns are just like anything else. There's less options. There's less ways to get leverage, but you're just trying to find leverage. Sean Lewis, $5 Super Chat, he says, Big Pimpin', we about to risk it and throw in a few Ashton captain lineups. Go Pack, go. Hit the like button, everybody. Yeah, I think Ashton Doolin, if you're playing 150 maxes, is there a Millie Maker tonight on DraftKings? Is there a Millie Maker? Let's see. But if you're playing in that big contest on DraftKings, I'm personally not. If you are playing in that, though, I think that, well, I'll probably enter my single entry lineup in at one time, so I don't really consider that playing it. It's just kind of a FOMO thing. Let's see what the biggest contest is tonight in the captain. $1.5 million, $500,000 to first. That's not bad for this type of a game on a Thursday night slate. So yeah, I think Doolin and those make sense. The problem with Doolin, though, like $200 is nice. What is that getting you, right? Like, is it getting you? You got Doolin in the captain spot. So if you're putting Doolin in the captain spot, you're assuming that he scores a bunch of yards, right? You're assuming that Doolin has like a 5-catch, 80-yard day, 4-catch, 80-yard day, and a touchdown, which if you're putting him in the captain spot, okay, so you have Wentz in there, you're paying up for him. Okay, you're putting Taylor and Pittman in there because now Doolin's taken away from them if he's going to have to be the captain. So it gets to this weird spot where, like, there's no real fucking Jets you want to pay up for. Mike White doesn't look that great. Michael Carter looks fine. Crowder looks fine for the price, but like you're not getting a big benefit. Like if Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones was on this slate, if there was other pay-up options that actually looked meaningful to get to, I just don't know. Like Doolin is such a risk for him to have a big game. Like I haven't projected for fucking 6.8 points. Doolin is going to need to score for you 16 plus points to be in the captain spot. I just don't see that happening. And then even then, he might not be the captain if somebody else goes off. So Doolin captain lineups are really tough for me to get behind. 150s, you want to throw some in, fine. It's just really tough because what are you getting from that? He's $200, so you get to spend money wherever you want. But there's the mid-range is all shit. There's like 3 pay-up options all in the same team as Doolin. So it kind of game theory-wise is like, okay, is this really going to work out for you, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Would you take more under 27.5 yards? No, I would not touch the bet. I got him at under 40.5. I would not be trying to force in under 27.5. That's a bad bet if you're taking that number. Yeah, you just got to move on. You got to find better numbers. Mike White's under receiving yards is a better number if it's still available at the numbers that we saw it at. Let's see if it is. So let's see what Mike White's receiving numbers are at now. 257. Look, this is now the best prop on the slate. Now that Elijah Moore's number is gone, 257.5. Let's compare it to what Prize Picks has him at right now. So Prize Picks has 245. See, look at that difference. If you are not signed up to both of these accounts, code SAL, free $100 on each one right now. If you're only using Underdog or only using Prize Picks, you're making a major mistake. Because if you wanted to take a prop under on Mike White tonight and you only had Prize Picks, it's at 245.5. You're literally giving up just because you didn't want to go sign up for Underdog. You're giving up 12 yards. 12. That's nothing, just 12 yards. Okay, sure. Daniel Jones, 20.5 completions percentage. He had 20.5 completions Monday night. He had 21. We hit that bet. If you took it later in the day at 21.5, or if you took it on Underdog at 21.5, you lost that bet, right? It is that simple. It is that simple between losing your $50 bet or not. And over time, that's going to happen, depending on how much you play. 5 times a month, 60 times a year. 60 times a year at a $50 bet, $3,000 a year you're just throwing out. Doesn't seem like a lot in the moment because it's just 12 yards. It fucking matters. And I can show you spots everywhere on this slate that's like that. Carson Wentz, 236.5. Let's see what his yardage is. 244, right? So if you want the over Carson Wentz tonight, you get it on Prize Picks because that 236.5 versus 244. These are crazy differences. Crazy. You don't find these differences in the betting markets in terms of spreads. Most sites are going to have it at -10, -10.5, right? That's basically it tonight. Crazy how much difference there is. So you do like Doolin better on SuperDraft? I like him better on DraftKings. Yeah. How much Doolin do you have tonight? I just got here. I have Doolin in 36% of my 150s, and I'm debating. Yeah, this slate is tough to try and play single entries because single entry leverage plays, Doolin is going to look like the best leverage play in the slate, but he's also just as likely to score 0 points than he is to score fucking 7 today, right? Fade Carter because of those brutal Colts linebackers. What about Crowder in the slot? I think Carter's still fine, even with the brutal Colts linebackers. Like, yeah, I don't think Carter's going to get a lot after the catch. But if Carter has 6 catches for 30 yards tonight, that's a lot for the price point. I like Carter more than Crowder, but I like both. I'm getting a lot of Carter in 150s. Currently, I have Carter in 57% of my lineups. I have Crowder in 36. Colts defense or a kicker. I'll prefer their kicker tonight over their defense slightly. Mims tonight, he was on the field more than any Jets wide. Yeah, he ran the most routes last week. He ran the most routes. He caught 2 balls for 30 yards. He dropped a touchdown. He's been pathetic. I'm not shocked to see if this is the week, and hopefully not for our props, but I'm not shocked to see if this is the week that you see Elijah Moore start to get more playing time and Mims start to get less. But yeah, Mims looks fine. This is the key to tonight's slate. Guess which one of Ashton Dulin, Denzel Mims, and Keelan Cole had the most points. Just guess. And maybe none of them will be meaningful and they'll all score 3 points. But guess which one of those guys? Who's going to run the most routes tonight? Keelan Cole and Mims. That's why they're priced more than Ashton Dulin. Dulin's $200. I have them all basically projecting out for like around 6.5 fantasy points. So yeah, it's that's the slate. I mean, that's it. Guess which one of those gets it right. Could I tell you which one? No. We're going to find out tonight. We're going to find out tonight which one catches their extra pass for 17 yards. Like, it's just so fucking random. That's Showdown at the end of the day. So hopefully you're playing 150s and you can get access to a lot more lineups. If you're playing single entry, it's just like it was with Tony versus Shepard before the game started, right? You're just blindly throwing a dart. Okay, hopefully this is the guy that gets there, right? Like Mims, Cole, they're going to run 32 routes tonight. Doolin, going to run 25 routes tonight. But with a better quarterback and a higher team total, so that's why he projects out nicer and he's cheaper, right? What do you think about Pittman? Think he looks good. Think he's the top 5 play in the slate. Probably number 4, number 5 play in the slate. Keelan, Kohler, Amendola this week. I think I have Amendola for like 7.4 points. I have Cole for 6.4. I'll take Amendola. He's get Tyrod back, right? Do you have an Underdog? Do you have a promo code for Underdog? Yeah, it's the same. My promo code will be the same on every site, whether it's Dibs, Prize Picks, Underdog, SuperDraft, Sal. Just my name, Sal. It's very simple to remember. Sal. On Underdog, you'll get the same thing as Prize Picks. Prize Picks, Underdog, use the code Sal. You get a free bet up to $100, right? You get it matched up to $100. How many points will Taylor have? I have Taylor projecting out for 19.6 points tonight. Carter or Crowder tonight? I prefer Carter tonight, but I also really like Crowder. I'm just getting more Carter right now. I think that Carter is a top 3 play in the slate. I think Crowder starts to slide into that conversation as like the number 7 or number 8 play in the slate. In single entry, you better off going kicker or defense route or trying a punt like Doolin or Cole. It depends on the size of the contest. If you're playing in a really small field single entry, like 250 people, the luxury box, I'm probably more inclined to play a kicker tonight over like a Ashton Doolin, to be honest with you. And just hope he doesn't score the touchdown. If you're playing in a larger field, mid-sized field, you're going to need to take more upside. Eric says, I asked in the chat this morning, but thought it was good knowledge. NBA, they say 5x salary. In NFL, how does it work? 3x. You said that cuts leverage. Yeah, I answered the question. Yeah, I don't really believe in these 5x value shit. In NBA, if you're a strictly cash game player, that's fine. Then you should evaluate your plays based on value. If you're playing GPPs, which I think most people watching this are in the NBA or in the NFL, leverage is the thing that matters. Value doesn't matter. It matters in extent. It's a part of the equation. Leverage matters way more. Ownership matters way more. So if you're watching people who tell you, you got to play this guy because he's graded out as a 5.1x value tonight, if that's the only thing they're telling you and they're not telling you his ownership and his leverage, that's what matters more in GPPs, right? So, and also 5x is a terrible number because if a guy's $3,000 and he scores 15 points in the NBA, you're losing every fucking time. So a better number is 4x plus 10. 4x plus 10 if he's $3,000. 4 times that 3 is 12 plus 10 is 22. A $3,000 player getting 22 is solid. In the NFL, no, I don't look at 3x value. Sometimes people comment on shit. Cooper Kupp was $9,000 last week. He scored like 28 points, and somebody commented after the fact on like a YouTube video saying that Cooper Kupp was a bad play because he barely 3x'd. He scored 28 fantasy points. Won everybody the fucking slate with Matthew Stafford, but he was a bad play because he only 3x'd. Okay, so if a $3,000 receiver gets you 9 points, not doing too much for you, bud. Right? It's just... It's a silly concept. It's a really silly concept. The 3x, the 5x. It's an interesting thing if you only play, if you're trying to give yourself a feel-good moment to try and identify players just for cash, but it ain't me. Would you consider Calvin Ridley droppable with his issues going on, hoping that man gets right in the head? I would not drop him. Mental health is different for every single person. You don't know the extent to it. We don't know. We don't know in Calvin's situation. It could be a 2 or 3 week thing that he should just get away, clear his head, go out to the mountains, go out to nature, be around family, just not worry about the day in, day out. So having to get the COVID protocols and remaining in the facility every day and practicing every day and then having to go home and stay away from people because of the COVID. Like maybe he just needs some time, right? Could be 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks, could be forever. I would just not drop that caliber of a player on somebody's going to pick him up on your waivers. So that just tells you shouldn't. How many points will Taylor score tonight? I have him for 19.6. Who is the Jet in Prize Picks with Wentz, Taylor, and Pittman? Wentz, Taylor, and Pittman. I don't know what you're taking on them. I don't have any Pittman props. I have Taylor over 214 receiving yards. I have Wentz over his passing yards at 236.5. The Jet, I would take. I wouldn't take Mike White's number on Prize Picks because it's worse. It's better on Underdog. I guess Carter over 12 fantasy points, if that's still available, I like. Kohler and Doolin in the same lineup, okay or no? I think you're giving up a lot of upside there. I think you're giving up a lot of points upside there. Those two guys both project out for 6. If they each score 8 tonight, individually it's good. Overall, it's bad for your lineup. You got 16 points out of 2 guys. You're really playing from behind now. Is it fine having Doolin and Cole Sr. in the same lineup? I'm personally not trying to. 1, I don't think I need that much value. 2, they don't project out for that much of a ceiling or good projection. You're just hoping one of them hits. The odds of both of them hitting are very low, and even if they both hit for like 8 points, 10 points, you're playing from behind massively because those are not a lot of points in a showdown slate. And what are you even getting? Like this is the thing with this slate. There's no mid-range, so like you're paying up, and the pay-up options, the good options today are Taylor, Wentz, Pittman. That's it. Carter, and then you're into the 7K range. And the only guy there that looks good is fucking Crowder. So there's like 5 guys to pay up for today. There's no reason to try and get a lot more money. Play one of the value plays and go from there. Smack the like button. Smack that like button, Nate. I appreciate that. Coin flip. It's a Mims night. Mims is going to have a little bit more leverage. Not a ton. Like, Mims will be 14% owned, and Keelan Cole will be 18%, right? Because he performed better last week. People saw the crazy touchdown catch that got called back. Do you like any of the tight ends tonight? No, they're all overpriced. I'm not playing any in single entry 3 max or even 20 max. My man Sal, what's good tonight? Brewskis or whiskey? Probably neither. Again, I want to order a poke bowl to my house. So if somebody wants to pay for the $8 fucking delivery and tip, I'm just kidding. Don't actually send me money for that. We don't need to keep smooching for it. I went to an Austin FC game, the last game of the year last night. Crazy. Fucking the only professional team in Austin soccer. Unreal. It was like a fucking club. Non-stop music blast and cheers going on in the supporter section we were in. It was fucking crazy. It was the coolest sporting event I have ever been to outside of Penn State Whiteouts. And then that environment last night was fucking insane. They won 3-1. They're a terrible team because they're an expansion team their first year. But they still went like 9-20 this year, which is obviously bad. But for just being a bunch of guys who got to scrap together a team off of everybody else's like dust list, not bad. But I had some brewskis last night. I got an IPA, chilled out. It was pretty fun. But yeah, friends, my best friend from high school, college, really good friend. He's coming tomorrow. So, we're going to definitely go out in the town tomorrow with some people. So tonight I'm just chilling. I never have beers in the house. We have them now from, last weekend, Halloween weekend. A bunch of people brought like their twisted teas and some White Claws, but I rarely will ever drink just casually in the house. Like I have some whiskey, maybe like once a month I'll have like a glass of whiskey if I'm just feeling the flavor. But I don't think I've ever just casually drank a beer in my house. It's usually just like out or at a brewery. I'm just not big into that. Mims or Cole tonight? It's a coin flip. I'll say Mims, but it's literally there's no right answer. Like they're gonna have similar ownership, similar projection right now for me, similar price. I'll say Mims is gonna be a little bit more leverage. New England Revolution games are a circus. Yeah, man, this shit's crazy. It was literally like a circus. That's a good way to put it. The light shows that they were doing, the fans nonstop for 2 fucking hours. Going, chants. Like literally no dead air. Screaming, waving the flags, going crazy. They scored in the first 47th second, not even minute, second, Austin scored. Like this is the first game I'm at. I'm like, oh, it's going to be fun, crazy. Right off of the fucking starting little kick tap. They get a fucking goal. Like the couple little play, a little goal, everybody's going nuts. I'm like, me and my girlfriend, holy fucking shit. This is crazy. Eric donates $5. He says 5 on the Pokeball. I got to refund this back. Nobody sent me money for the Pokeball. It's fine. I'm good for the $5 delivery and $4 tip or whatever it is. I'm good. I appreciate it, though. Thank you. You guys are way too kind. Congratulations on your business milestone. Amy, I really do appreciate that. I feel really weird to an extent. Like, I know I've done the business review videos in the past. This is something that I think I've struggled with for, like, the last year and a half. And obviously, like, everybody has different struggles, so I know that this is not really a real struggle. But it's this weird in-between of just like sharing the business milestones, I guess. Not even to just strangers. I really don't care. The reason why it's shared is to just show like other people that it's possible. There's a lot of people in this industry that are making content on their own just starting out and they're getting frustrated or they're working for somebody else because they don't think there's as much upside going on their own or they don't know how to. So that's kind of the hope there. But yeah. Definitely something that I have not wanted to share too much with the people around me. So it feels kind of nice to share it. You just see like a lot of movies and TV shows where people's lives change because of that, whether it's people coming out of the woodworks asking for just money or things like that. And that scares me, I guess. But I think it's important to share that, especially with my close family, friends, and girlfriend. $10 super chat from Pizza Boy Marriage. What a name. He says, get something to eat or drink on me. Well, I appreciate that. It's going to go towards this poke bowl that we're going to order up here. But damn, you guys are too kind. Scarlet is the shoe was intense versus Penn State. Scarlet the shoe. I know you are a Penn State guy, but it was a wild atmosphere. Oh, their most recent game? Yeah, that was Halloween. Well, the day before Halloween. Yeah, we had it on here. It was a fun game, 17-17 at one point. But, I mean, maybe if it was at home, right? Maybe if it was at home. But I didn't feel too confident in Penn State winning that one. The defense looks great. Hines or Moore. Hines or Moore. Ooh, yeah. Hines or Moore. I'll go Moore, but you guys already know that I don't really like Moore tonight. My answer is neither, but yeah. Nothing wrong with sharing that info. Congrats, Sal. You deserve it. Always on the grind. I appreciate that. Too kind. Hey, Sal, big fan. What about Carter at the captain? Any thoughts? Yeah, I have Carter at the captain. In 150s right now, Carter's my third highest owned captain at 23%. If you don't want to play a quarterback, because I'm going to get a lot of Wentz captain tonight, just the way the slate plays out. But if you don't want to play a quarterback and captain, Carter would probably be my second highest owned captain. Which running back will have the most points this week, Sal? Like on the main slate? I have my projections on the main slate on Patreon, my man. Sal, thoughts on the whole OBJ thing? Yeah, I don't really have much thoughts, I guess. I mean, his dad posted some video that he found on YouTube of somebody else saying that OBJ was open. He posted it on his Instagram or something. LeBron, who's his close friend, tweets out free OBJ, so I would assume that OBJ is okaying both of those things. I don't know. They're not going to drop him. They're only going to trade him to an NFC team. They're not going to drop him. So the teams that need wide receivers are like the fucking Chiefs. You think they're going to drop him so the Chiefs get him? Like they're going to have to face him in the playoffs? The Colts? Like you don't want these guys to acquire him. So yeah, I don't think that that's going to be something that is wise. So I don't think they're going to drop him unless they trade him to an NFC team. And the NFC teams don't need receivers. Like the Packers are the only NFC contender that might need a receiver. The Rams don't. The Bucks definitely don't, right? The Cardinals definitely don't. So the Cowboys definitely don't. Like the Packers might, maybe, kind of, not really. I don't think they're going to bring him in, by the way. John Bryan, $10 super chat. I appreciate that, my man. How much is Patreon, says Time Weiss? There's different packages. No one price. It depends on what you want. I'll put the link in here if you are interested. Yeah. Sal, should I do Mike Evans for Terry McLaurin? I will take the Mike Evans side of that. Favorite SuperDraft captain / plays tonight. So on SuperDraft tonight, and we can look into this, my highest projected plays on SuperDraft tonight are in this order: Carter, Pittman, and Crowder. I'll give you those three. But SuperDraft tonight, I do think, like if you're talking about multiplier, I do think that Crowder becomes a lot more appealing because he has a 1.65x multiplier. But overall, Carter at 1.5x. Carter or Crowder probably are the best SuperDraft plays tonight. Sneaky, Michael Badgley, the Honey Badger, he's in play as well, 2.3K for even the captain spot. But I think Carter or Crowder, Pittman right up there as well. What is this contest filling at? Holy shit, this can't be right. This contest is currently filling at, no fucking way. 17%. I must have to refresh this. Apparently that contest is filling at 17% an hour and a half before the game starts. That can't be right. That can't be right. Hey Sal, what's up? How's your night? I will be in touch at some point about creating content thing. Been trying to do the CSGO esports. I need to watch your videos on that startup. Sounds good, man. Yeah, a lot of people, especially after I posted that on both LinkedIn and Twitter, a lot of people have like asked me, a couple people sent me their resumes, and some people are asking me like how to get started in the content space. I have videos in the past, but I just, right now at least, I can't spend time writing back a big email to everybody because it's a lengthy process. But I have some videos on YouTube from the past couple of years. I'm sure we'll do a recap at the end of this year. Pascal thoughts. Pascal and Moore to fill the spot. I'll take Pascal over Moore there. I think Pascal is going to run double the amount of routes as Moore. He'll be a larger red zone presence for his team than Elijah Moore will be. He'll just be on the field more. So give me Pascal. I'm projecting out for almost double the points. Thanks, Big Red, for the super chat. Aaron Rodgers suspension ? Yeah, I don't know how that's going to play out. Like outside of like the real life impacts of it. If we're talking about the real life impacts of it, I agree with Aaron Rodgers. Like, you shouldn't have to disclose your vaccination status and all this stuff if you don't want to, right? So I agree with that. You should be able to have a Halloween party if you want to, but you add in the context of he is doing a job that he agreed upon, that everybody else agreed upon, that you have to follow these rules. And we don't have full information yet, but if it comes out, and it seems like that at least right now, but if it comes out that he was not following all of these rules, then yes, there should be repercussions. So whether that's a fine, I don't, maybe a suspension comes, I don't really know. They'll find out. But I mean, it's just as much, in my opinion, on the NFL and the Packers as it is on Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's obviously the one doing the acts, but nobody put a stop to this for 8 weeks of the season. Like, the NFL definitely knows. He did a fucking petition to try and have his whatever the fuck, stasis test that he ended up doing, or therapy count, since he got the antibodies through that, I guess. I don't fucking know. Sal, use your code on Prize Picks. Thanks, my dude. Yeah, no problem. The one. Best of luck out there. Get the $Rooskies. Do you have a code for SuperDraft? Yeah, the code is Sal on everything. SuperDraft, code Sal gets you on SuperDraft $25 if you put 25 in. Code Sal on everything will get you a nice little something. Nice little something. Nice little fucking Starbucks today. Went there. Bam. Right away. Christmas. Bam. Christmas blend. Christmas cups. Christmas workers. The person in front of me to start my day this morning at 6 a.m. in Starbucks. The person in front of me, I did a little work in there. The person in front of me bought 10 gift cards, $10, $15 gift cards for all the people behind them in line. I was the only one in line at that point. I was like, holy shit, this is the best way to start my day, right? It was awesome. Just the smallest things. I mean, $150 is not small, but to those people it probably was. And if they're doing that, but man, just the smallest way to make people's days so much better, right? It's crazy. It's just Carter and Johnson, the Jets' backfield. Does one see more usage than the other? Carter will see a lot more usage based on the last couple of weeks. Say Sal at the door at any club and you get right in. Yeah, you get right in. I agree with your take on Rodgers. Yeah. I mean, you can have your own opinions on the situation. That's personally my opinion. I don't think it's a vicious opinion by any means. You should be able to have your privacy if you want it. Like, the fact that the fact that he was asked over the summer in August, like, are you vaccinated by reporters? I understand they're doing their job. They're going to get clicks. The Kirk Cousins thing was a big story. But I also think it's kind of bullshit that you put him on the spot there and then he has to answer yes or no. Like, and if he doesn't, if he tries to answer with a thing that says I'm immunized and then it comes out later, now everybody wants to call him an asshole. But why does he have to disclose that information? Again, at the exact same time, though, you don't have to disclose that information. I think it's fucked up that it's kind of leaned on that these players have to. But like, you got to follow the rules on the camp that you're in if you are or not, right? I'm thinking Smith and have a chemistry since he's a second quarterback and Berrios is so low on the depth chart. Yeah, no interest in Berrios. He doesn't run routes. He ran 14 routes last week. He was the wide receiver 5 last week. That's in a game where they ran a lot of plays, by the way. I think Berrios runs 5 routes tonight. I think he sees 0 to 1 targets tonight. I don't think that's enough, especially at his price point. I mean, Berrios is extremely overpriced tonight. Braxton Berrios is $3,800. Like, that is fucking insane. Again, last week was a very high-paced game. It's not going to be that way this week. It's just not. That's not the way that the Colts play. That's not the way that, honestly, the Jets are going to play. They converted a lot of third downs, right? They kept the clock moving, the drives going. So, like, 45 attempts for Mike White last week are probably going to come down to being, like, I would say 30 attempts, like maybe 34 attempts if they're trailing 35. It's going to lead to less routes run for his receivers. I think Berrios runs 6 to 7 routes tonight. I know Sal, therefore football knows me. Any Marlon Mack or Jeff Smith? No. Who's the chalkiest captain tonight? Who's going to be the highest owned captain tonight? I would expect that the highest owned captain is probably Jonathan Taylor, and then very close to him is going to be Pittman and Wentz. Starbucks is trash. Yeah, it's the only thing open that early by me. I don't mind Starbucks. I think the atmosphere is nice. Obviously, I'd rather support local businesses, but they don't fucking open until 8 a.m., so that's on them, not me. Thoughts on Mike White versus the pass rush? I just think Mike White's going to continue to check down, and they're not actually going to get yards after the catch in this game. I bought your NFL package on Patreon, but I was thinking about getting the sports package. Do I have to pay the full cost, or can I upgrade? So you want to go upgrade to the Hall of Fame package? You just pay the difference in cost. Everyone is overpriced, correct. Sal, get updated NBA projections since we know how much you love doing those during the stream. Yeah, man, hate doing those during the stream. It's like the most annoying fucking thing. I assume that there's going to be something needing updates. Oh, yeah, everybody in the Discord's asking. Apparently, there's updates needed. Yeah, I'll try and get an update out right now. It's like the last thing that I remember deep in thought, in the flow. Then we got to go over to the fucking NBA, which, by the way, I am highly enjoying watching the NBA so far this season. But, man, nothing is worse than having to take 5 to 10 minutes during a live stream to update these projections. It's just such a tedious process. That's the thing. Like, I need to wait on things to load since we're live with big sets of fucking data. It's just the nut low of experiences for everybody involved. Obviously, the people watching at home. So I'll update this as we talk through these questions. How often does a 5-1 onside actually win? It depends on the slate. It's going to be a very low percentage chance compared to 3-3 and 4-2, but it does win more often than it's played. So it wins more often than it's played, which means normally it's a nice type of a leverage. But that being said, the 5-1 onslaughts very much so depend on the slate. Yeah. Any Mike White captain? No. Sal US late night NBA projections now, somebody says. No, they're going to be updated. We got 12 minutes. They're going to be updated. Oh, yeah. I mean, the NBA was doing a very good job at getting these information out way earlier in the days, these last couple of days and weeks. I mean, the NBA just needs to fucking understand. If they want to be at the forefront of, like, betting information, just get your fucking injury reports out like MLB does, like, 1 to 4 hours before the game or even in the morning. Just makes the whole process so much more enjoyable for everybody involved. Lebron James, he's been ruled out all day today. What percentage of dueling do you own? I have 36% dueling in 150 maxes. Yeah, really, really tough on like decisions for single entry. I have single entry contests reserved. I'm sure they've already filled a lot of them, so I can't even play them tonight. But man, this slate is kind of gross for single entry. I'm not going to lie. Not a lot of ways to get different. The ways to get different are the ways that everybody else knows, and they're high risk. So like even if you're playing optimally, there's a really good chance that you just fall flat on your face to people who don't know how to play because those people won't know who the fuck Ash and Doolin and all these other guys are, right? So that's the issue tonight. There's just not a lot of ways to get different. Jordan Clarkson looking like a sexy play. So is Joe Ingles. Uh-oh. The people watching at home right now, we're updating these projections live action because, I mean, Korkmaz rolled out. That ain't good. That ain't good for the people at home. Alrighty. The update is coming for the ZNBA. The update is coming for ZNBA right now. Let's update the optimizer. You like Mike White on SuperDraft tonight? On SuperDraft, Mike White is decent. He's like my 7th projected play. I would say he's a better play on what's his multiplier? I would say he's a better play on SuperDraft than DraftKings, but that's not saying much because I think he's like a bottom 5 play on DraftKings, factoring everything in. Yeah, I mean, Mike White's just not a good play tonight. Like, again, can Mike White go out there and have another good performance because his players go yards after the catch crazy again like they did last time? Sure, I guess so. He can get there in garbage time, all that type of stuff. But if we're just talking about hindsight right now, relative to his ownership and all that, I think Mike White is actually a bad play. Like, Mike White might be 50+% owned tonight, which I would expect. Most quarterbacks normally are. That is way, way, way too highly owned, in my humble opinion, for a player that projects out for 15 fantasy points at almost 10 grand. Sal, do you have a favorite NBA team? Been loving watching the Warriors lately. I don't have a favorite NBA team, no. I just basically followed the teams that my father followed, the Bruins, the Packers, and the Yankees. I've kind of lost interest in baseball and the Yankees. I like NHL playoffs, but regular season hockey I don't follow at all. And then I'm just like, I went to Penn State, so I'm a Penn State fan, and I'm a Packers fan. And the only real reason I still like rooting for teams is just the atmosphere. Like going to Penn State bars with a bunch of alumni, it's just so cool. Watching Packers games with my dad or more so flying in for Packers playoff games with my entire family, my cousins, my uncles. Like that's what I like. I like that. That's about it. Other than that, like I don't really care about regular season's wins or losses. It's cool to watch it. At this point, I'm just kind of really invested in like the legacy of Aaron Rodgers. But for the most part, like I really doing this as a job really has taken away fandom, which I'm fine with because at the end of the day, it's pretty silly to stress out over like the play calling of a head coach that you'll never meet, of a team that doesn't give a fuck about you, right? That's just kind of my T's and P's. What's your projected routes for Doolin and Qt tonight? I have Qt for about 8 routes. I have Doolin for about 24. If Wentz keeps underthrowing these receivers and getting those pass interferences calls, he won't hit the over. Yeah, that wouldn't be good, huh? The NBA owes it to the gamblers. We make it work. Gamblers are the biggest fans. Yeah, gamblers are probably the biggest fans of the NBA. I completely agree, especially night in and night out. Especially night in and night out when a lot of people don't actually like the NBA, right? Because there's no defense and all that. Somebody says, where's the shirt? It's on my body. It's on my body, boy. Shit. Seriously, do you sleep, Sal? There's no way. I appreciate all the advice. Yeah, I've actually been prioritizing 8 hours of sleep the last month and a half. Before that, I was probably getting about 7.5, but I've really been prioritizing at least 7.5 and closer to 8 every night. I just go to bed early. Like I go to bed at 9 or 9:30 most nights. Get up around 5:36. Marlon Mack inactive. Oh boy. I mean, that's not going to change too much. But that's interesting that he's inactive because they did actually bring up to their active roster Jackson, I believe it was. We played him in the preseason a little bit, if I recall correctly. So Marlon Mack is inactive tonight. Won't change too much. I assume that means Jackson maybe gets like the 2 touches Marlon Mack was going to get. Doesn't change too much. I had Mack for like 2 points and change. So seems like it should be big news if this was 2 or 3 years ago. Not really important news tonight. Jackson might get a couple touches. Tevin Coleman inactive as expected. Corey Davis inactive as expected. Flacco and Wilson inactive. So the inactives and active news not really that crazy tonight. Davis listed as inactive tonight. If he is out, is Crowder a lock? Crowder's not a lock. Crowder's an okay play, but based on his price point, he's definitely not a lock. I mean, Crowder catches 6 balls for 50 yards tonight. It's brutal. Like, not great. Favorite player props tonight? Yeah, I mean, you're not going to find the Elijah Moore. The Elijah Moore under 40 is gone. It's off the boards. But the under 57.5 on Mike White is probably my favorite player prop on Underdog. Other than that, mixture of a lot of these props. Carson Wentz over 236.5 yards. Mixture of a lot of these props is kind of where I go after that. Carter over 12 fantasy points. Elijah Moore under 40.5. Again, you won't find that anymore. Taylor over 14.5 receiving yards, 3 receptions, I believe, in 4 of his last 5 games. That bodes well for us. Yeah. Thoughts on the UFC card this weekend? Yeah, it's going to be great. My friend who's visiting is actually from New York. If he wasn't visiting this weekend, like when they announced the card a couple months back, I might have actually flown into New York for this one and gone to it because this is a great card. Obviously, Covington 2. Rose is always an exciting fight. Chandler now opening the main card, the first fight on the main card, so that Trevor Whitman can have more time. Yeah, I like it a lot. This card's great. Obviously, there's Billy Q on the card. A lot of stuff on this card. It's cool. What other former players would you like to see cast like the Mannings if it is expanded? I don't know. I think the Manning show is good. I like it. I like it more than the normal broadcast, but I don't really watch it. So I guess it's not like that good. Like, it's not drawing me to the TV. Probably, I mean, like Pat McAfee, he's literally doing that as a career and blowing everybody out of the water. So, like, actually people who are good at it. Like Manning and Eli, they're good at it. They know each other, right? Peyton and Eli, they're clearly very well connected and understand each other's, like, little things that can get them going and all that. But, like, actual personalities, like, yeah, like Pat McAfee types. Any Jeff Smith tonight? I do not have any, no. Mack inactive? Yes, he is inactive. Elijah Moore, Pascal, or one of the Atlanta receivers in season long, like Russell Gage? I'll take Pascal. Carter as a captain, thoughts? I think he's fine in the captain spot. 22,169. Nice work, Sal. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. What do you think of Ashton Doolin? What do I think of Ashton Doolin? Yeah, he's gonna look good today. He's $200. He's gonna see 24 routes. You're hoping that leads to some receptions, unlike the past weeks. UFC, no way. Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, the UFC fight more so than I mean, Usman today was saying that when he wins this fight this weekend against Covington, that he wants Canelo Alvarez next. That's the only fight that seems exciting to him left. So that's pretty exciting. But Canelo's fine. I like watching Canelo too. But this UFC card is way better than the boxing card. I couldn't even name. I don't even know who the guy this guy is fucking facing is. Canelo. No idea. Couldn't even name another person on this card. I don't even know if there is a card for the boxing fight. Like, that's how bad boxing is at promoting these days. Where do you do props? Love from South Austin. You've been to Moon Tower. I've not been to Moon Tower. I'm not sure what that is. But where do I do props? I do props in DraftKings or Underdog and Prize Picks. That's where most props are. That's where you're going to find the most action because that's what they do. They host props platforms. But then DraftKings, FanDuel, PointsBet, BetMGM, all that. It's not legal in Texas, but you have people place it for you, and you're good to go. Who's your favorite pump play tonight? It's going to be Ashton Doolin at $200. Mo Ali Cox, the thing tonight, not for me. Getting in late out. What's the best leverage play on the slate in the captain spot? That's a good question. We haven't answered this question yet. What do I think the best leverage in the captain spot is tonight? The problem is this slate is so straightforward that there's not a lot of overall, like, solid, I would say, leverage plays in general. I would say that some of your best captain options tonight, captain leverage options tonight, I don't know. There's not much leverage. Like, I'm looking at, like, I think just the good plays are just going to be slightly underowned. Like Wentz, Taylor, Pittman, Carter, like, will all be slightly underowned. I think that's about it. I think Ashton Doolin will hold a little bit of leverage because I actually think he probably has like a 3 or 4% chance of being the winning captain when he'll only be like 1% on the captain spot. But again, that's a very low chance. So this slate is like 6 actual good plays, and then you're just punting a couple of different positions. UFC is way better than boxing. Dana White is great. Yeah, it's fantastic. A lot of solid underdogs on the UFC card this weekend. Yeah, a lot of interesting like coin flip fights too. Are you going to Skankfest? I was listening to the Rogan, Ari Shafir, Mark Norman, and Shane Gillis podcast. I was listening to that today, and I heard them mention Skankfest, which is like a comedy festival somewhere around here. I'm not. I have a friend visiting. I didn't hear about it either until like today. With no Mac, does this do anything for Hines? No. Like Mac isn't even touching the ball. Mac had 0 touches last week. So Mac had 0 touches last week, and Hines saw 1 carry, right? I start Mike White tonight, says Raul. Oh, best of luck. My man donated $2 to me. You're going to need that $2 if you're starting Mike White tonight, my man. Damn. I appreciate it. What's the prize picks lock today, Sal? Happy soon to be Friday. Yeah, the lock's already gone. Under 40.5 receiving yards on Elijah Moore. It has been way gone since we took it yesterday. If you were in the Discord, you got it early. Over 236.5 on Carson Wentz, I like. That one I like a lot. Took off work to watch your stream and have a 5-day weekend. Can't wait for just one dude. Let's go, David. Let's go. Final thoughts tomorrow. That one dude on Saturday. My man's having a 5-day weekend. We love to see it. Mike White, captain. Somebody says, not for me. I think he'll be over on the captain spot. Would it be okay to fade both quarterbacks? Yeah, if you don't think Wentz has a good game, sure. Yeah. Like in one lineup, sure, go for it. If you're talking about playing many of lineups, I would not be fading Carson Wentz today. I'm currently above the field on him. You like the Colts defense tonight? The Colts defense is a solid play. Yes, it is. What else we got? Mac is out. Correct. Is Mac playing tonight? Mac is inactive tonight. I don't think that actually matters. I really don't think that matters. They called up. Who is it? Is it Dante Jackson? Was it Dante Jackson, the Colts running back? They called him up on Monday. I thought that was because they thought Mac might get traded. So he's going to be activated tonight. Maybe he sees 1 or 2 touches. It's the Jonathan Taylor show. It's Naeem Hines getting 3 or 4 touches or 5 touches, right? Marlon Mack saw, I believe, 0 touches last week. Marlon Mack has seen a total of 8 touches the last 3 weeks. He's not in this offense. There's a reason why that he wants to trade. He's just not a part of this offense. So Marlon Mack him being out literally does nothing. Like it does nothing. Like it gives an extra half of projection carry to Jonathan Taylor, which is like an extra 0.3 points, 0.2 points, right? I was projecting Marlon Mack for 2 fantasy points tonight, so that is not going to be much of a difference now. Who on the Jets has the most threat for downhill big plays? Big plays on the Jets? Probably Michael Carter. I mean, there's not like a lot of big plays. I joined Patreon. The optimizer is a lot of fun. Biggest tip when using it, says Consag. Yeah, biggest tip when using it. For it to run faster, be sure to set a minimum value to exclude everybody under like a 1 minimum value. That'll make it run faster. That's all in the tutorials. There's some tutorials if you haven't seen them yet on Patreon on the optimizer page. On the page that has the password and username. Other than that, randomness, stacking, all that type of stuff, it's all kind of shown out in the tutorial. Sal, you turning that thick pumpkin into a pie? This thick pumpkin is literally going to start to have some worms coming out of it soon, but it's still kind of fall season a little bit. The candle smells amazing. The vanilla cinnamon brulee candle smells amazing in here. It's fucking Christmas every day, it smells like. What's your projected ownership on Doolin? I think the field is going to own him. I currently have Doolin projecting out for a lot of ownership tonight in the 20s. I can tell most people in here don't watch the Colts, somebody said. Why so? Why so, my man Ken? Why so? Molly Cox is captain, not for me. How are you differentiating Pittman versus JT at captain? I'm getting both of them. I think I'm getting more JT, but I'm getting both of them. Let me see. Yeah, more JT. Wait. Yeah, more JT. Jets beat the Bengals, who crushed the Ravens, who beat the Colts. So Jets crushed the Colts tonight, right? They're like 7 teams better. Yeah, that's how that works. What percentage of coal do you recommend in the utility spot? Whew. Coal in the utility spot tonight. I think I wouldn't recommend. I have 35%, but that's 150s. Yeah, I think you just got to take a bunch of just throw your hands in the air like you just don't care shares of Denzel Mims, Cole, and Doolin tonight. That's kind of the way the slate breaks down. Mims or Cole? Yeah, I'll say Mims because he's going to be like 5% less owned. That's about it. Is there a way to save player pools in the optimizer? I mean, if you like exit out the browser, no, not right now. I don't believe so. Desmond Patterson was activated from IR today. Any thoughts on him? He was activated for this game. No, I think that he's behind pretty firmly Mike Strachan. He was nice in the preseason, Patman, though. He made us a good amount of money. Will you end up putting a Christmas tree back there for our viewing pleasure? Maybe I will. That would be nice. Yeah, maybe I will. It's a good idea. Maybe I will. A fake one, though, but maybe I will. SuperDraft plays. The SuperDraft plays tonight. Yeah, the top plays: Michael Carter, Pittman, Crowder, Michael Badgley. Those are some of the top plays. There's no way SuperDraft is still only filling at this low. Like, it must just not be loaded. There's no fucking way. All right, fellas. This is the right contest, right? Yeah, Colts Jets. This is not a drill. This slate starts in an hour and 17 minutes, and SuperDraft's contest is currently filling at, because this game is so shitty, nobody wants to watch it, 16.8%. How is this? Am I not on the? Is this not loading properly? If this is wrong, if it's loading properly on your end, it's filling at 17% an hour and 15 minutes before the fucking game starts. I'm gonna have to max this out. I haven't put any entries in yet. I'm going to, but I don't have to worry about it fucking filling, right? So there's no rush to do that. Holy shit. I mean, this is on pace to fill at like 40%. I think it'll fill out more. I would hope so. Now that people are watching, I'm sure it'll fill out more. Oh my God. Yeah, this is crazy. Holy shit. Yes. Go to SuperDraft and play that contest tonight. I don't understand this. I don't know if it's just frozen for me. Maybe it's just frozen. Let's see. Yeah, it is frozen. It was frozen. All right. I'm sure people are saying it in the chat now. It was frozen. And it's frozen right now. It's at 593. So even then, like even 593, but nowhere near what it was. So instead of 17%, it's filling at 34%. Still, 34% is pretty fucking low. But okay, there we go. It's 500 lineups right now, big pimping. Yeah. I had to refresh it. I was going to say, there's no way. Like, that site's going out of business that bad in terms of 17% an hour before a fucking game. Christmas Day streams as Santa Sal. Christmas Day stream, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't even know if there'll be football on that day. Is it Sunday? I don't know. But I'll be in, I won't be able to do any streams. I mean, I guess I could, but I'll be at my parents' house. I don't want to set that shit up. Put a Sal social media handle Christmas tree ointment on there. Hey, we love that. Sal, what's the most you ever made on a DFS slate? Most ever made on a DFS slate was $33,000 Rooskies. So shitty SuperDraft isn't in Indiana yet? Yeah, it is. If I have top 3 Colts, is it fine to run Cole Sr., Doolin, and Carter? I wouldn't want Doolin and Cole in a single entry line, I believe, personally. Alrighty, gang. I've got food coming shortly. Should be coming very shortly. While we were on this, I ordered it on the other computer. How far away is it? I got food arriving in 20 to 25 minutes. That's not that bad. We'll get off of this. We'll update what we got to update. The Marlon Mack news, which is not that crazy. But yeah. Alrighty, everybody. Put your hands in the air like you just don't care. We got football on tonight. You got a 5-game basketball slate on tonight. It's Thursday, right? Two-turn Thursday, Thirsty Thursday. Do what you got to do tonight, gang. I appreciate you being here. We're going to bounce. When you win the Dollarooskies tonight, and by the way, we haven't said it yet. Hit the fucking subscribe button, by the way. 2 seconds of your time. Can you play the kicker at SuperDraft over there? Yeah, you can play him in the captain spot if you want to. Yeah. Best of luck, everybody. When you win the Dollarooskies, tell them you know about football. Tell them that's how. And football knows about you. Tell them that's how, right? All right. I'm going to get some water. I'm going to eat some food. I'm going to go on a nice little stroll, nice little walk. I'm going to watch the football game tonight because, hey, that's what we do. Prep to that one. Dude, we're always working. Finish reading the last lecture. Start reading this book. I want to learn more about the brain. I want to learn how to perfectly optimize the brain as much as I can by learning more about it. So Keep Sharp by whoever Sanjay Gupta is. Keep Sharp. So about the brain, the function. It says build a better brain at any age. That's what I want to do, right? I got the cardiovascular down with the running. The knees ain't too good, though. We got to learn about that next. How not to lose your fucking kneecaps by the time you're 40 or 50 because you run all the time. But yeah. Appreciate y'all a ton. Before you go, hit the like and subscribe. Support the sponsors of all the programs. And at the end of the day, just have some fun and win the Dollarooskies. If you're playing too much money tonight, that you're stressing, that you're up late at night, that you're angry to your significant other because of fucking somebody dropped the ball in the game, cut that shit out. This is supposed to be fun. You're here for a good time, right? We're here for a good time, not a long time. So have a good time. Don't be stressing out. Don't make this hobby of yours that maybe is a little bit of a side hustle, or maybe if you're one of the really lucky people out there, it's your full job. Don't make it more stressful than it needs to be. You're watching football. You're drinking a brewski. You're collecting the Dollarooskies, and you're chilling the fuck out. Hey, best of luck tonight. Tip of the cap. Tip of the cap, a bow. Tip of the cap, a bow to all of you beautiful people out there. I appreciate you all a ton. And I'll see you all in the next. I'm going to hit the fucking clubs tomorrow night, the outdoor clubs tomorrow night in Austin. We're going to hit them all. We're going to Uber to the clubs tomorrow night. We're going to fucking sway our arms a little bit. We're going to let our shoulders lean. The knees are going to bend. Drop it low. Drop it low. Bubble up. Drop it low. Peace out. Man, that man went a little bit crazy there. I think that robot started to malfunction. I mean, goddamn. Did that robot, did he start to malfunction? Did he say bubble butt? Shit. That man, though. That man crazy.